Hi everyone, Radhe Radhe. In this video, we're going to be doing chapter 10, verse 20. Bhagwan Shri Krishna is continuing to talk about his opulences, which Arjun had asked in 10:18. He had asked, like, can you please expand and explain to us your opulences? So he's continuing to talk about that. Okay, so let's sing the verse together. Ahamatma gudakesha sarvabhutashaya sthitah ahamadeshcha madhyam cha bhutanamanta eva cha. I am the super soul, O Arjun, seated in the heart of all living entities. I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings. So Prabhupada goes into a lot of detail. So I had attended this lecture series, which I had not completed fully, but I had I'd listened more than half, and about the cosmology that is described in the first nine cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. It goes into a lot of detail, and I've promptly forgot all of it. And so Prabhupada kind of explained in brief what he's talking about here, because he's talking about that beginning, middle, and end of all beings. And the Bhagavatam in the cosmology section goes into great detail for all of that. So I didn't really fully understand it, but he talks about something like, before material creation, Supreme Lord by his plenary expansion accepts the Purusha incarnation, and from him everything begins. So he's the beginning of everything. He's the Atma, the soul of the Mahat Tattva, the universal elements. And then Mahavishnu enters the Mahat Tattva, and then they manifest three features: Karnodakshayi Vishnu, Garbhodak, which is Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, and Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. And so there's all kinds of really complicated things that happen. I am going to not go into that technical detail because I don't know it. But basically what he's saying is he addresses Arjun as Gudakesha. Gudakesha means one who has conquered the darkness of sleep. And because you cannot understand it when you're in tamas guna or when you're in the darkness of ignorance, it's not possible to understand God. And because Arjun is above such darkness, he can describe these various opulences to him, and he will be able to understand. What Swami Mukundanand says also. What he says is God is seated within our soul. So this is something that has confused me. I've heard it before as well. So is the Paramatma sitting inside the soul, or is it next to the soul? Because there are some analogies, that might just be an analogy, where there are two birds on a tree, and one is the Atma and it's just looking all over the place, and one is the Paramatma and it's looking continuously at the Atma, which is Krishna Bhagwan. Krishna is looking at the at the Atma continuously, and he's like, can you please turn to me? I want you to turn to me. I want to have loving exchanges with you. I want to love you. I want you to love me. I want to have loving exchanges with you. Please turn to me. So Paramatma is just constantly loving us, and we're just looking all over the place, all over everywhere else, and we're not looking at God. So, I mean, that just might be an analogy, but in any case, I thought that Paramatma is sitting next to the Atma, but here is saying the Paramatma is sitting within the Atma. So, if the Paramatma were not to be sitting within the Atma, then our souls would become, our soul itself would become insentient and perish. We souls are eternal and sentient. We are eternal, but not because of us, but because the supreme sentient and eternal God is seated within. Whether we are going into the worst worlds of the Patal, which is like there are 14 planets in each universe, and we're on number 8. Earth is number 8, and 14th is the highest, and 1 is the lowest, Patal. So even if we're in Patal or wherever we are, it doesn't matter whether we're in the soul of an ant or a tree or a pig or whatever. Bhagwan Shri Krishna as Paramatma is sitting apparently inside the soul, within the soul. Okay. So that's pretty much it. We'll do chapter 10 verse 21 in the next video. Wish you a day filled with tons and tons and tons of spiritual growth. Radhe Radhe.